Right, hello everybody. Today will be a 1v1 SCAM versus Aeon on Howling Peaks, the new Blizzard winter map. And here I am, just opening up standard. Just got my command center down. On the new map, as you can see, Howling Peaks has a relatively easy natural expansion. It does have that little backdoor. Sorry for that misclick right there. Does have a backdoor map with a easy to take third. You can go one of two ways. You can go towards the north, which is a lot closer to that enemy tower, but it provides you a stable base. That way you can place all your units there. It's really easy to defend. Or you can go for the eastern route, which is a little bit easier to defend, but run-bys are a lot easier to happen, and it's just kind of a big risk if you go down there first. I tend to like to expand to the top, but don't mind that. That's just my preferences. This game will be in fast forward because this was a really long game, 31 minutes long, but it's a pretty good composition. The new Hellbats that Blizzard added into the beta are really strong against Protoss, especially paired with Thors and Banshees. The DPS output is really good, and High Templar don't really do that much damage against it. So as long as you can keep track of those Protoss Immortals, you should be really fine. Yeah, I can see that he's going for a fast expansion. I'm gonna do my fast expansion build with delayed refinery. His probe is being a jerk, blocking my expo, sees my marine, starts to run away. Fast forwarding again. I'm gonna plop down my expansion, get my econ going. Now this is pretty much like a 1-1-1 build, because how this build starts off is you want to go for a really fast 2 Banshee, just like poke, just maybe kill off a few probes, and you'll see that in just a bit. So I get my bunker up to protect my expansion, my star parts going down. I like to get the reactor on the barracks because you can get those extra 2 Marines and then sub it out for your factory for Hellion Banshee production. And I mean, if the Protoss decides to hit you early on, you'll have that bunker, you'll have Banshees, and you'll have a couple Hellions out. Because most Protoss players really like to make use of the new mothership core that they have. As you can see right there, it's already out, just protecting the base. And most players will actually like to keep it active on the map. They like to harass with it because it's really fast. So it's kind of reverse roles as a light attack unit and not so much as a base aid. So there's my first Banshee going out, just circling around the map. I had spotted an observer heading towards my base, so I didn't know where it was, so I wanted to make sure that it went around my expo. So that way he wouldn't see it coming. Getting more Banshees going. Cloak is just about to finish up. Hellions coming out. I'm getting my armories up. I can start getting Thors. So this build is really centered around Protoss expansions. I mean, if you really see like a delayed Protoss expo, you kind of really don't want to do this build. But since I saw him plop down that Nexus right in front of my SCV, I decided, you know, this is a really strong build, especially on an open map like this. So my Banshee hit squad has scouted. They're going in. They're about to kill off probes. I get a few probe kills in. Nothing much, like nothing crazy, but my cloak does save my Banshees. I start to harass the pylons, get 2 more quick probe kills, and just get out of there. And so that kind of did hurt his economy just a bit. I have my 3rd base going. I'm going to add on more factories because it's floating really bad. So getting my bases up, and now he already saw Banshees, so that kind of forces the Protoss player to play a little bit more defensively, as you don't want to have Banshees do more damage than the first hit. And since there was his observer, plus when you get the armory out, it's a little bit easier to defend against zealot pokes and any gate pressure, because the new Hellbat ability for Hellions is so strong. And this, since I decided that I was going to take my expansion because I knew that he was playing defensively. I was going to take my expansion towards the bottom, eastern expansion. I was going to take control of that tower just in case any run-bys that I hadn't seen were going to go across the map and try to pick off a few SCVs. I have my starports out. You want to get at least 2 reactor starports just in case of Tempest. So even though this build is primarily Thor, Banshee, Hellbat, you still want to make sure that you have that ability to go Vikings if you start to see Tempest and Oracles and Carriers start to come out on the field. So that way you're not caught by surprise and your Thors and Hellions don't sit there just getting absolutely destroyed by the new Protoss air units. So now this is a process where I have a bunch of minerals. I'm just really expanding, building up my army, getting upgrades, and this is the point where I know that no pressure is coming. So I pretty much decided to just take bases, get my production up, get more production facilities going. I know that he has a 3rd. I don't really want to do anything about it right now. I'm just trying to get my 4th established. Just getting my upgrades. You know, you're going to see in just a sec, I'm just going to add on a ridiculous amount of command centers. I have 4 armories going, pumping out those upgrades. I'm already maxed. He's still at 126. And so I just start adding on command centers. This is really good for Terran, especially this map, because of the already like natural map choke points that Terrans can make use of, especially when you're going to go attack those outer bases. Especially that southern base for me, because there's collapsible rocks that Terrans can make use of, especially if there is a run-by going. You can just break those, save your base, and then you already have the mobility to just get out of there again really fast for a counterattack. So I'm just start looking around for his army. I want to see what he's at. I already have so many command centers, and my econ is already really good. I start looking around. So I'm just trying to poke around everywhere, just sending out Hellions to towers, adding on more factories, getting my upgrades, +3 weapons for my mech is already on the way. Now this is where I see his army. He does have a 4th base. So this is a huge engagement right now. Although he does have actually better upgrades than me at this point in time. I collect my Banshees. He does get a few good storms out, but it doesn't really do that much. Get some feedback. My Banshees and my 2 Vikings that I had out just in case completely just decimate his army. My Battle Hellions do fall, but just the sheer massive HP and DPS output of the Banshees and Thors alone just clean up his base. Just start adding on more CCs. See that little probe, just kill it. Getting out +2 for my plating on both air and mech, and getting out my +2 weapons for my Banshees. Pretty good, considering that their DPS output is extremely high. So yeah, I'm just keep adding on bases. I'm just gonna keep crippling them. This build isn't really about going in for that really fast kill. It's more about a slow death for the Protoss player, and that's something that you can actually do now because Terrans can now actually deal with the massive charge lots, as your Thors can just take all the hits, and then your Hellions can stick behind and just start to clean up the Zealots from behind the massive Thors. And a few SCVs repairing, it's pretty much an unstoppable army that just tramples its way across the map. So I see his army moving around. I see that he's actually going for my expansion, and I hadn't actually killed the destructible rocks yet, so I was kind of confused on what to do. But he makes a quick run around. His mothership core is coming along with it. I decided that I'm cloak my Banshees up. I'm just going to start picking off units, kill an Archon, kill another one. Get out of there. He starts dropping storms. Don't want to sit in those for very long. My SCVs are repairing. I do lose that base, but I have 7 bases still available for me and more on the way. So I just pretty much start picking off free units. My Battle Hellions get killed off, but it's to the point where he's already lost his mothership core to volleys from my Thors. So he has no protection, so my Banshees will be basically getting free kills. So I decide that I don't want that to happen again. I'm going to put down some sensor towers, covering that little area in a sec. I'm getting +3 plating for both air and mech, and +3 weps for my air. I already had it for my mech. So now, this is the real strength of this unit composition, because if you have 3-3 on everything, it's just it's like I said, it's pretty much unbeatable right now in this current state. I mean, this sheer DPS output is just ridiculous against everything late game, and you can easily transition into pretty much any counter to what the Protoss has. Since I have so many bases, I decided that I'm just going to have a huge SCV party follow my army, and I'm just actually going to go in and start going for his bases, because I didn't actually like the fact that he kind of freely got into my base and just knocked it out for a bit. Make sure I have no observer, and here's the battle. It's pretty equal in supply, but I mean his supply just starts to drop. I see that High Templars, I snipe off the Colossus, I start to pick him off. I do lose a bunch of Banshees in this fight, but the Stalkers are so concerned about the Banshees that they don't even go near the Battle Hellions or the Thors, and the Zealots are just cleaned up really, really easily. So he's going to lose his base for a second time. The supply difference is massive. It's 180 to like 90 right now. My SCVs are still alive, just repairing. Gonna start maxing again. The game is coming to a close. I decide that it's time to go for his third base. I'm gonna get maxed out again really fast. I'm on 3-3. I can just build bases wherever I pretty much want to at this point. He's kind of pinned in his base. Start scanning. I see that's all that he has left of his army. I have more Hellions on the way. Decide that I'm going to have to bust down those rocks, because the collapsible rocks protecting his western expansion on the top, he already knocked those out, so I can't get any run-bys in. So I'm just going to start taking out these rocks. I have another thing of Banshees on the way, 4 producing at a time. More factories, landing bases. I just have a huge variety of bases that I can land anywhere. And he starts maxing again. I do bait out a storm from him. I really wasn't planning on going down that ramp with all of his forces there. That'd be kind of a waste. My mules do die. So he doesn't have a detection at this point, so all his High Templar are kind of free kills. He does try to get them with a few hopefully well-placed storms, but my Banshees just dance around him. I pick off his High Templar, decide to get out of there. He goes back. Started hitting off the Zealots. Starts getting more Stalkers, and since those Banshees pretty much opened up a little lane so that way my main army can get in while still picking off units of his. So he kind of has to choose whether to not go or to go in. But either way, he's still going to lose a lot of units. Battle Hellions and Thors just roasting. I do lose 2 Thors to a poor rally. I started hitting off his pylons. My main reinforcements of Banshees are just starting to come back. Tried to uncloak him because I want to conserve their energy. And I see that he's going to move down the ramp. My Banshees are already firing. I get everybody going. And my huge amount of Thors. And this is where this composition really shines. Is all the Thors are just taking the damage, and all the Battle Hellions are just roasting everything behind them. And there goes his entire army, and there he leaves the game. GG.